What's up? What's up,
Hello.
y'all? Welcome. We back again, y'all. We back.
How
You
y'all
ladies
doing?
are looking lovely as always.
Doing good, doing good.
Thank
Good to
you.
see y'all. What's going on? What's been popping for the last 2 weeks?
It's been a
Heat,
long.
hot.
That's a good thing.
It's
After the
so
winter
hot.
we had, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm all for it, but it's hot.
We're gonna get you some ice packs, but we invite the heat around these parts because this is
Oh,
bipolar PA. You never know what you're gonna get from Monday to Sunday. Gotta wear a snorkel and a pair of shorts in the same car. So I'm happy
Sound like
for it.
DC weather to me too, because that's how we do it. But before we get too into it, can we just like take a moment of silence for all those children that lost their lives in Texas?
Yes.
That was a very tragic and sad thing. All them babies.
Our condolences to the families and
Yes,
loved ones.
yes,
yes.
yes, yes. May God continue to provide their parents and loved ones with peace and comfort. And I'm talking that peace that passes all understanding, because that was just sad and senseless. So our hearts go out to the families affected by those tragic events.
Yes.
It was crazy. I had a kid talk about it. Like he was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and he was like, Mommy, did you hear that? Did you hear about this?" And I was like, "Wow." So that's pretty dope that our kids are still up to date with current events. But it's tragic that they have to be informed of stuff like that. Kids dying and teachers and all that kind of stuff dying. But our prayers are with everyone in these crazy times because it's definitely nothing less than that. But while that's going
We
on,
need it.
God still reigns. So we'll
Yes,
continue to,
yes, yes, he does.
continue to give him glory and praise his name, and let him shine above all the madness. But what's going on for this tonight's show? What we got for the folks tonight?
We got a show for y'all tonight. We got none other than Miss Danyel Riley that's going to be speaking later with us.
Yes.
But before we bring Miss Riley out, we
Yes.
don't have we didn't get any letters for our advice column this week. So
That's okay. This show is going to be so jam-packed that whatever advice they may need
they're
concerning
gonna get it.
yes.
They're gonna get it. I know that's fine. Can you tell them they about to get it?
Yes, they're going to get it. So it's okay.
Okay, so we're gonna have a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to Empire Marketing, your one-stop shop for all your online business needs. To the right of me are some of the services we've been providing for the last 20 years. Are you in need for affordable business solutions? Looking to increase your online presence and social awareness? Or maybe want help with driving tons of organic traffic to your website's products and/or services? Then contact our expert team to learn about our various services created to meet your exact needs. Our graphics and marketing professionals have tons of experience in creating eye-catching logos and branding materials. In addition, we create professional interactive ebooks and ebook covers for Amazon or self-publishing. Have you ever thought about creating your own online coaching or podcast services, but don't know where to begin? Are you a physical trainer? Or a certified coach or therapist? Or maybe you're interested in becoming one? Well, we provide you with quick and affordable solutions to do just that. Our team can build you a solid brand, and generate a reoccurring subscriber-based membership website for you and your company that's tailored to your specific practice and/or profession in less than a week. Now you can have your very own professional online video e-learning platform, providing in-depth instructions, tutorials, trainings and online lessons in any profession or niche of your choice, creating you an endless stream of passive, residual income while you sleep. We'll even show you how to attract new high-paying, high-ticket-based clients for your business, without breaking the bank in ad dollars. We specialize in creating attention-grabbing promo materials and video presentations that captivate your audience and viewers, while utilizing cutting-edge technology for marketing and targeting new interested leads, and converting those leads and prospects promise to maintain the highest level of quality and commitment. Your satisfaction is our main concern. Contact us now, and let us show you all of the affordable and amazing options we have available for growing your business. You may speak with a live agent by calling us at 717-722-5626. For a complete list of our amazing and affordable services, visit us online at www.empiremarketing.xyz. Let us launch your ideas into empires.
And that's that, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We
Yeah.
could not do it without our sponsors. So we are so glad that we have heard from them. And we're just excited about today's show.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. And with that being said, let's introduce our guest for the evening.
Okay, we'd like to introduce Miss Danyel Riley.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Little theme music here.
And we don't own the rights to this music.
Right now, everyone from A to Z. On my age, right?
Not the prep.
I can catch a spell, secrets you can't tell. It's special true with fire inside of you. Anytime you feel danger or fear, and send me, I will be it's all in me. On one baby, with naturally.
All right. All right.
Yes, every woman.
Every woman. So that brings us to the title of our show tonight. And as we said, we have such a great speaker here, and she's going to help us bring it on home. But our title tonight is I Am Female, but who taught me to be a woman? And so with that being said, that's like a nugget. What does that mean? What does it mean? You know what? Tonight you're going to find out. What are we talking about when we say, who taught me to be a woman? So before we get started, though, we want to give our guest speaker, Danyel Riley, an opportunity to tell us a little about herself.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Sean and Passion, for having me on the show. When I heard what the topic was going to be, I was so excited. So just for those that don't know me, my name is Danyel Riley. You can call me D. I am a native Washingtonian, a graduate of Bowie State University, BSU, a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Yep. I also am a life skills facilitator for the Heart House. Also a member of the board of the outstanding Denny House. That's the dennyhouse.org, which is a nonprofit in Prince George's County that empowers youth and young adults. And lastly, I'm so proud of my newest achievement of being an official speaker for the House of Ruth. I'm really proud of that. Yes, I'm really Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you again so much for having me.
We're happy that you're here, and we're honored that you're here. And you know, I'm a fan of yours, so I'm ready for you to get started. You hear me?
I'm ready for us to get started. Yes.
Take it away. Come on. So, who taught you how to be a woman, girl?
Well, when I thought about that, I said, that's really a complex question because I
Yes.
think um, throughout a lifetime, you're impacted negatively and positively by various women. It could
Yes.
be your mom, it could be grandma, it could be nana, it could be your teacher, it could be your friends, because we're in close contact with our friends. And it could be someone at church, it could be the church mother or Sunday school teacher. So it could come from various places. But my first introduction was with my mom, who is a phenomenal, hardworking woman. And she told me a lot of things. She told me a lot of things. More importantly, that integrity was everything, and for your word to be a word, and which is biblical. Let your nay be nay and your yea be yea. But
Yes.
there's some things that I think culturally that we learn from women in our community that some are worth taking away and acting on it, and some I think we need to relearn some things in certain areas. So hopefully we can explore that today as well.
And I think that's so great that you jumped us off where somebody can teach you positively or negatively, because so many times we have to be able to decipher, and many times as we grow, we don't know exactly what has been negatively imparted in us. We grow and that becomes a part of us, and we're just that person. And as you said, I'm glad you said that when you said culturally, some things we need to shed. And I think one of those things that I think about when you talk about culturally is when, especially in the South, so let's even differentiate the difference between North and South, especially in the South. I remember growing up, and the women would be going through different things in their marriage, and it was like hush hush, and it was like you stand by your man no matter what, and it was like um even as it relates to the church a long time ago, they didn't stand up for women who may have been in an abusive or a bad relationship. And so everybody was like, that's a secret, that's hidden. Nobody knows our business. It's a secret. So you were brought up with this a man's going to be a man, and so you just kind of were supposed to sit back and allow him to devalue you and mistreat you. And so you learned that being a woman meant to be less than. And so I think that that is something that, we have to understand that no, you know, it doesn't mean that. Being a woman does not mean that in order for us to be a support to our man, we have to be in the back. We have to hide his secrets. We have to stay in dysfunctional relationships. So I'm
Mhm.
so glad you said that, because I know there are a lot of women out there who may have been brought up in that tradition of I need to cover my man.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. And I am a city girl, native Washingtonian, and you look around your community, people think that kids aren't as perceptive as they are.
Mm-hmm.
They might not know
Mm-hmm.
the details, but they're kind of piecing some things together. They know the energy that they feel or don't feel.
Yes.
And yeah, there were some women, but there were some women doing that. But then in the city, we're a little different here. There were a lot of women being like, you know what, I'll do this by myself. Like, I don't need him, that kind of thing. But I think it comes back to haunt us a little bit when you talk about the relationships, because what you learn, I want to say, your first introduction is with the hopefully your mom, but some people had their grandmothers to raise them, or an aunt or a guardian. Some people were in foster care. So, but you still have your first introduction of a guardian that most likely may be a female, and you're watching that, and you're taking on some of those characteristics. I mean, some
Correct.
when
Correct.
you, yeah, right. And so look at yourself as an adult for a second and think about some of the mistakes that you possibly made in relationships. And when you map that back to
Yes,
when you saw that, it was normally in your house, or, back in the day, we used to be over grandma, cousin, aunt, so all of those houses were considered your house, right?
correct. Yes,
Happening somewhere along those lines. And we need to hopefully be talking about a village. I know I'm one of those people that I like teaching people where I went wrong, and hopefully we come up with the tools to change your mindset about something so that you can do it differently and hopefully not have to go over that speed bump. And relationships is
exactly.
one of them. Like you said, don't say what's going on in the house. And a lot of women suffered abuse of various kinds as a result of that. And I'm telling you, these Gen Zs and millennials now, they like, forget that. I will put you on blast.
Exactly.
You know, I have a family member now. I'm like, don't post that, don't post that. And they're like, so what? I mean, it's happening. So, whatever, right?
That's
So
right.
you're right, because they've seen what the hush hush had did to the previous generations
Mm-hmm.
and didn't help you. It really didn't help you. Yeah.
Right.
So
And it
that,
comes a time when we have to, like you said, it didn't hurt you, so we need to break the silence. And so yes, those types of things that were negatively imparted in us, it's time. And I love that you say you changed the mindset, because we have to be able to say, okay, anything that I learned that's not functioning me well in life, I need to learn how to get rid of it. So I like that you teach the life skills that help women or people to become a better them. I always say every day you should strive to be a better you. And
yeah.
so I think that's so good. And when we talk about, I was like, when I thought about this topic, I was like, what do I really mean? What am I trying to ask about being a woman? And then I thought about, because I thought about those negative connotations, I thought about, having a sense of strong identity, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
having, being able, we as women, well, men do it too, but women more so, us being able to embrace our bodies and love
Yes.
it for what it is.
Yes.
And even as we grow older, understanding that when you were a cheerleader, um, back in the day, your body has evolved, it's adapting, and you have to adapt with that and be okay. But I mean, some of us, we could get on that routine like Mary J. Blige or something and maybe find out what she's doing, because
Right.
she's still working it out. So, maybe we could get on that routine. But the reality is, if you're not willing to do that work, because I know she's working, embrace your body, be excited about that, and be confident in who you
Yeah.
are. And then learn how, women sometimes we can't build each other up. We can't say, oh, you're beautiful, you
But
know.
let's just let me cut you off 1 second, Sean. Now, come on. We've all been around that table,
Mm-hmm.
right, in various settings
Mm-hmm.
where there's a meal being cooked, or everybody want to know who made that. You peeking in, you get the whole peek in. Who made that? You got all these quiet, like, Cheryl made that, Keisha made that. No, we not eating that. I mean, for everything. I mean, the shoot. Now, I mean, different, whether you were at church, whether you were sitting on a porch getting your
That's true.
hair
You
done,
too.
there was always someone judging the other person. Like, she know that skirt was too high for that. We at church, it's 3 inches above her knee. She knows she need to get set down somewhere, and the Lord ain't with her. Or, you know, she came up to the school looking like that to pick her kids up. I've been one of them, because I learned it from the village, and the village is so expansive, right?
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true.
Whether it's at your cookout, family cookout, whether it's at the school, whether it's walking down the street, she knows she can't walk in them heels. She know them heels too high. Girl, those are, yeah, she child, she know that. So it's like trying to unlearn those things, but also I will go with the positive. I don't want to just state the negatives. We evolved from the mom not working in the home, right? And nothing
Yes,
wrong
definitely.
if you and your partner decide that one person stays home to nurture those kids, that is absolutely fine. But I know for me, I'm 47. I came from, by the time I came on the scene, women were starting to go back to work. And there was
Yes.
another one. It was like, I grew up on don't depend on nobody but yourself and God. That's what my mom told me. You got to get out here. You got to get your education. You already have two strikes, meaning strikes as in how society sees you. You're black
Black
and
and
you're a
your
woman.
woman.
You got to work twice as hard. You got to go get that. You got to be self sufficient for yourself. Don't take no handouts. Strap up your bootstraps. You start getting a strong black women, seeing women in single parent households still providing for their children, even though they're scraping together. That's when I start seeing that big, I don't know what this cartoon is called with the Caucasian lady with the scarf on and she's doing this number right here. I don't know
I
what you
know
call
what
it.
you're talking about, but I can't
Right.
think of what it is either.
Right. But that's when I saw, even with TV and you start having women in motion pictures that were strong, you start having a black woman that told somebody off or whatever the case may be, you start seeing all those, the Shirleys on what's happening. And, remember Roger's mom was by herself and you start seeing all that stuff. And it's like, okay, I have to be a strong black woman no matter what, no matter what. You
So
know,
I'm sorry. Let me jump in here because I'm 100% with y'all, which is why I'm over here quiet, right? Because y'all on point. What you just said just popped something into my head with the emergence of the strong black woman, right?
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
Where we start seeing black women as head of the households, and then they become so strong. And I'm going back to this: I am female, but who taught you how to be a woman? Sometimes we as women, we get so wrapped up into being the head of the household, the leader, that we forget to tap into that feminine side. So
mhm.
now we're walking around and the roles have reversed. So that just plays into that whole who taught you how to be a woman, because even though we have to be strong and be heads of households because we are single parents, we still have to remember how to be a woman, how to be a lady, you know. And I just think that that is something that needs to be really addressed, because you'll hear men say, you know, she's too strong, she's too headstrong, you can't tell her nothing, she won't let a man, she doesn't know. We've become so in touch with our masculine side that, you know, we don't know how to let men be men because we're too busy being that role. So
Yeah.
I think that's so funny that you said that because, you know, but who put us in those positions? You know what I mean? So we had to, in order to then make sure nothing fell. And even it's funny, we talk about the women who were even married, but if you think about it, even back in the day, when you think about Big Mama them, they still, regardless of the man being out in the field, whatever he was doing, they were running things.
Yeah.
They
mhm.
were running things. So um from history, women were orchestrating and moving and organizing from the beginning. But it's just that now, especially as you say, when you're trying to date or be approached by men, they can't understand that side of you that is about your business, not taking any craziness because you know you could take care of yourself and that. And so, yes, we do need to remember a soft side, but at the same time, we have to be okay with acknowledging that, hey, we are just a strong woman. Not that we can't be loved, but just that life has taught us how to be who we are.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
But
And
the one piece that I think was missing though, is now we're in the age of Jesus in therapy. You see everybody with the shirt, it's Jesus in therapy, right? I think we kind of missed that part because we weren't taught that there needed to be an outlet. And guess what? I don't think in our community the offerings weren't there necessarily like they are now. The need for that. So I think now we're trying to say, okay, yeah, black women breaking down, and when I mean breaking down, you breaking down with diseases and the health implications of stress and all of
Oh,
that breaks your body down. And now like, oh, okay, there was a part that was missing. Now you do need to have these outlets to make sure you have work life, home life balance, and
balance.
sometimes that
Yes.
requires, because it didn't really come with a manual of how to run your household. Yeah, you knew how to wash dishes and cook and clean, but your mom and grandma raised different kids than what you were raising.
True.
They were married to a different person than what you were married in. So the dynamics changed. So then that manual kind of needs to be tweaked, right? So we were kind of missing that.
But I think there's I agree with all of you. But I'm also noticing there's a major gap. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 70s baby. So yeah, I know the big mama is raising, and they took no mess. They ran everything from the household to the block. You know what I mean? And they was running everybody else's kids and whatnot. Anybody that was out of line, they get checked immediately. You might get whooped on the street by your neighbor. So, you
Facts.
That's
know,
the village. That's the old
You
village.
know what I mean? So that's how we were raised in discipline and taught respect for our elders and things of that nature. 2022, right now, we got kids raising
Different.
kids
That's
with
Yeah.
right.
no home training,
Yeah.
no foundation in where they are taught how to be a woman, let alone a lady, a classy lady, besides being a boss lady. That's all that this the focus is right now is bossing up, getting your paper right. And granted, a lot of that motion came from men not handling their business. You know what I mean? A lot of women were scarred during that era because they were coming back from the war and they were drug addicts and dealing with alcoholism and being abusive. So the women had to devise a way to be able to hold their family down without a man and still thrive and be a woman. You know what I mean? So that transition got real murky. I
Yeah.
mean, extremely murky. And I come from a single a mother household. Never knew my dad, so I know what a strong woman looks like, and I respect it to the utmost. But in the same token, even as a child, I watched it conflict against my manhood, and
Mm.
that's just a parent son relationship. So let alone that dynamic being applied to a relationship with that woman and another male of her equal. So
Mm-hmm.
the roles still get very murky because how do you drop that command center when you can't even trust this man to hold down you and your family properly, let alone 5 minutes, let alone 5 years. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, and that's what women want, stability. And a lot of, and I'll be honest, a lot of men are not accountable to being stable. They're on this, doing them mission, and those that are responsible are holding down their families and taking care of their kids and their responsibilities, even in broken families. But nonetheless, even with the topic of tonight's show, there is such a major, like it's almost like two different worlds, like
Mm-hmm.
of education because on like they're raising themselves, and I'm watching young ladies become adults and they're abusing their kids verbally and have no patience and no tolerance for the things that kids do as kids.
Yeah.
Like the kid is gonna cry, the kid is gonna be a kid. When is they allowed to be a kid? So if you're always on top of the just shut up and do this, go sit over there and just snappy, always just constantly on top of your kid because now you're just so bossy and so in control of your life and you can't let nothing down because you're on protect mode 24/7 as a provider, a parent, and all of these other different titles that women had to claim and own, like literally, without a help of a man. And if a man comes into play, then it gets still. And I personally have been challenged with that situation when it comes to loving a strong, beautiful black queen, raising all her scruples and morals and this and the other. But meanwhile, only had to deal with that one situation of a man not holding up his end of the bargain, and it changed the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit is a lovely individual that's capable of being super marriage material blockaded in her life because of one or several men, not holding up the end of the bargain and them having to shoot back to, oh, I'm the boss lady. I got to make the money. I got to be the provider, the everything, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm. And
But
we see that too. We
Yeah,
see
we
that
do.
too. We see the grandma or mom got divorced at 45 and she's still 70 and not having a man because she's like, that's it, that's
that's
it.
right.
This and I'm shut down. We've seen that.
Hmm.
We've
Yeah.
seen
That's
that.
right. I ain't never seen Big Mama with no man.
Right.
None of them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because Big
Think about
Mama.
it.
That's because Big Mama had a sneaky link. That's how it was coming up to the right. Big Mama had a sneaky link. He would come through the back door when all the kids would sleep, so you would never see Mr. Roger coming and leaving, but everybody else knew. Um,
That's true.
I think we have to. I think it all goes back to the basics. Going
Mhm.
back to the basics. When I was growing up, my mom, right, um, was who taught me, and my mom is the way my mom was raised, very, very old fashioned, right? And my mom was a big proponent on what goes on in this house, stay in this house. And she also was big on appearances,
Mhm.
right? So no matter what was going on, you always had to look a certain way because she always was worried about what is so and so going to think, what is so and so going to say.
Mhm.
I was raised in the realm of good girls don't, bad girls do. You are to be seen, not heard. This
Mm.
is this is how I was raised because those were the things. And I don't know if I might be telling my age, but even when I was in school, I had a couple of teachers tell me too that young women, young ladies are to be seen and not heard. And some of those things kind of stick with you as you grow. I think the breakdown came in when we decided I'm not going to be like my parents, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
took so much. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna raise my kids the way my parents raised me,
Right.
right? So then we set out, and when we set out with that mindset, we abandoned a lot of the morals that was in the message that they were doing. Like there used to be a time when I thought my mother was just because I had to be home when the street lights came on.
Yes,
You
Lord
could
have mercy.
not I better not
You
catch you
could not be
outside
caught.
when that street light come on and it's get it right. And then I'm looking at other kids and I'm like, but so and so, I'm not their mother. And now
Yes.
That's right.
I got
That's
this whole
right.
thing with, I don't even like you because I can't do what the other kids were doing. And then I got other kids teasing me because my mom was so much more strict. But now
Mhm.
I look at it, I'm glad she made me come home
Right.
when the
Mm-hmm.
street lights came on. But
Mhm.
my kids gonna be able to stay out as long as they want to. But and I think that's where the breakdown come in. So now we're not really raising our children.
Yep.
We're letting the TVs raise our kids. We're
I was
letting
going
the
to say that
social media.
technology.
My other idols were like Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight and Stephanie Mills and Whitney Houston. And when them women stepped on stage, they was fully clothed,
Mhm.
sexy, had the hair done. Now you got women stepping on the stage, they half dressed and they cussing and they fussing and they want people to see their behinds and their butt. And even with my daughter, I told her one time, I said, sometimes, you know, women that dress a certain way, they're looking for attention,
Yeah.
And they
but
draw the
that's
wrong type
and
of
they
attention
draw you
sometimes.
exactly. And that's not to say that you can't dress like that because you should be able to dress any way
However
you
you
want,
want.
however you want, and you still be respected as a woman. But because of perceptions
Mm-hmm.
and people in their minds,
Yeah.
they think, oh, she wanted, or oh, she easy, or whatever it is they think. You know, we can't control what other people think, but we can help what they think by how we carry ourselves.
Yes.
So I
Mhm.
really believe that, you know, we have to get back to teaching our women that, you know, look at how they dress, and this is all a persona. How do they dress when they're at home, off stage, or when they
Mhm.
out with their kids, on family outings, or on vacations? They may be fully clothed. So what they're modeling is not really what they should be modeling.
Right. And I think
I like that you're talking about.
I was gonna I was
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that part of that affirmation, because a lot of times when we do, I think about to when I was doing, I can't speak for anybody else, where you
Mhm.
want the little shorts, because guess what? You're getting older. I went from being a little stick figure in elementary school. You get a couple little bumps in middle school. So by high school and going into college, you're like, wait a minute now, I'm working with a little something and I'm feeling like I need to be emancipated. I'm not in my mom's house and I don't have to be
Be a
in.
little free.
And you're starting to figure out, okay, my hair looks cute curly like this. And guess what? In the stores, that's what they have. When I was coming up, I got my first black dress when I was 12 because they weren't making them in certain
Right,
sizes,
right.
right? There's certain things they weren't even making in your size as a kid. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can have booty shorts on a baby.
2 year old.
Yep.
So it's like the sign of time. I think the fashion industry, everybody was helping kind of be a village. Not saying there weren't any one-offs or whatever, but you know, everybody was helping. Everybody had more family morals, but
Yeah.
each generation just got, a little bit more lax. I won't say, a little bit more lax. And now here we are. So you telling your children now to be in when the street lights come on or whatever is like, come on now, the whole world is not doing that. So you're antiquated. What you're asking me to wear, they don't even make now. You know, Nothing is saying morals and standards for the most part.
And you know what's so funny? I have the hardest time. I am still a slip person, right? Because I was raised to wear a slip.
Yes.
People would sit down and you stand in the screen door and they'll go, "Where's your slip?"
Yes. Most definitely.
Because they could see through your skirt, right?
We
Mhm.
do
And
that.
now it doesn't matter if everybody can see everything through your skirt. I
Yeah.
remember when they would tell me, okay, leave a little mystery. It
Mm.
wasn't that, they would tell you things. When older women would tell you things like, okay, you cute, you have a little body going on, but you always want somebody to have to imagine some things. Don't show them everything.
Mhm.
Those are the kind of talks that
Mhm.
people would have with you.
Mhm.
And now, even like you said, the clothes. I mean, my daughter is 16 and I tried to buy her little shirts, but then I don't want her to feel like she looked like an old lady. But I mean, the shirts are coming down here and all. And so then
Yeah.
I feel like the church mother that had to say, baby, we need a little safety pin right here.
Right. Yeah. Need a little material right here.
You need a little safety pin right here,
Yeah.
so that you're not showing everything. But that's how, like you said, that's how everything is made. I remember, like you said, they used to have ruffled socks for
Oh
Yeah.
kids.
yes.
Little girls would have ruffled socks and all. And the shoes, all the little girl shoes were flat little shoes for
Mhm.
little girls. Now, little girls, heels
Yeah.
and
Yes.
all kind of things. So, like you said, the generations have moved us into another way of, even when we're trying to say, hey, it's okay. Somebody's going to see your shape no matter what. No matter what you put on, they're
Yeah.
going to see your shape. Even if it doesn't have a hole in the middle of your butt, they will know you have one.
Mhm.
but um but it's just the image that is being portrayed everywhere. And when Nisi was talking about other people or the TV or whatever raising your children, I think about that too. We didn't have technology wasn't so prominent. And so now that everybody has a cell phone, you know, the 3-year-olds know how to swipe and what and do all this on tablets and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. And so um basically you say you give the child the tablet and you go do whatever you want to do. Well, in our generations, we had they had to talk to us. you know, you know, and even when we raised our kids when they were little, we had to talk to them a little more because there wasn't so much to entertain them. So we were sowing seeds by quality time. And
Yeah.
now I even look at the restaurant. I go to the restaurant. This is everybody at the table.
Yeah.
You know, we're all out to eat and everyone's in their own little bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that when we talk about, because I was impacted by so many women, like you say, it starts at home. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you go to school, I'll never forget my teacher named Miss Kennedy. Miss
Mm-mm-mm.
Kennedy, oh my gosh, she was so hard on us, but yet she was so loving.
Yeah.
And she would always, as she was teaching you, she always had a nugget for both the girls and the boys, teaching them how they should act as boys and how we should act as girls so we could grow up and be respectful. And I'll never forget the seed she sowed in my life as to who I should strive to be a better person. So it is so important for us to understand how, yes, along the way, different women impact us. Different women sow seeds into our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great thing. But we have to be able, what you said in the beginning, I think was so key. We have to be able to determine and decipher what things we need to keep growing and keep nurturing, and what things we need to um, let die and
Yeah.
not grow on and be a part of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the gentleman said that the whole neighborhood was in sync with each other. I remember
Yes,
my
yes,
neighbor
Mm-hmm.
knowing my mom and see me out of character, be like, they knew what my mom stood for. It's like, now you know you don't want me to tell your mother. Like I'm gonna
exactly.
straighten you right now, and don't let me. Next time I'm gonna tell your mother. You like, ooh, please don't. Thanks. I'll take this. But now you say something to somebody's kid, now you get killed for
Oh
that.
But
yeah.
they coming, the parents coming back to tell you why
Well,
the
and guess
kid
what? Wait a minute, the children will kill you. We're not even talking about the
go.
parents necessarily. The kids are going to shoot and kill you
Well,
because
that's true
don't
too.
nobody say nothing to me. My mom don't talk to me like that or whatever. And we're talking about with respect. You know, they took prayer out of schools. They did everything that was
Yes,
keeping everything together. It was dismantled. And so now you have this exposed generation and we
yes,
need each other. We were created, our creator created us for community, not
Yeah.
to be in this little silo because you can't do this on your own. You know,
no,
it's hard to do, right? And the choices that we're making legislatively, personally, spiritually, are the reason why, our community is in an uproar, not just African Americans. We talking about
it's
the
the whole
world
world.
collectively,
That's right. That's right. And I,
and I really feel bad for even when, foreigners come here to make a better life for themselves. And in their country, everything is strict. You may have, what they call, they may be choosing your spouse or you can't do this, you can't do that. Really strict. But once they come here and get this Western culture, they be off the chain,
That's right. That's right.
listening to the same music, saying the same thing, and it's just like, we just need to figure out a way to, how do we get back to that, because we see that this is very destructive for us. And if
Yeah.
you need a slip, I can just tell you, Ross is my favorite little place to go.
Oh,
Ross
they have
still has
slips.
slips, everybody. Whoever wants to wear a slip, they
Oh,
still have
yeah.
stockings and slips. Okay.
Yes, I didn't know that. I never saw. Maybe I overlooked them in Ross because I am. I'm like I need a slip.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's okay, Ross.
yeah. Yeah. So I think it's as I mean, the people who still have um that mindset to teach the generation, just use the platforms that you have. Some people have the ability to um, speak to people at school. Sometimes it's your neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
gaining their trust, because that was the other thing as it relates to like church or other places. Sometimes, they used to be a little mean, that, right? But if you don't have
Yeah,
relationship with somebody, if you don't have the relationship, people are not really going to receive you. So work
it's
on
true.
developing the relationship, and then you can pour into someone, because we have scripture for that in Proverbs 31 talks about how women should be.
Very
Titus
true.
2, for myself, it says older women show the younger women how to be. So, our creator is expecting us to do that, because that's how you keep different generations having morals and standards. And I was going to say this really quickly about our TV shows. Remember when you used to watch The Facts of Life? There would be a moral at the end of the show.
Yes, of every show.
Different strokes. It might have been somebody stealing, but then at the end of the show, they talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Our shows are wow now. Like it
Oh,
was nothing. Anything that was X-rated would come on after you should have been in the bed. 10, 11
Mm-hmm.
o'clock. The Benny,
After
if
eight
you
o'clock.
remember Benny Hill,
Oh
Benny Hill used to
yes.
come on at 11 o'clock, where you were like in a deep realm of sleep. Now your kid can watch anybody call somebody a BITCH at 5 o'clock in the day.
Yep.
That is true, and that's because they've taken away a lot of controls when it comes to like freedom of speech and all
Yeah,
of the rights amendment. Because even with that, even like with the Cosby Show, Bill and Camille, they used to sleep in the same bed, but you never really saw them in the bed, right?
right.
She would
Right.
be on under, he would be on top, or she might be in the bed and he might be sitting at the dresser. Um, and back I Love Lucy, they were in separate beds. There were two
Separate beds.
beds in the whole thing, right? But now it's just, and I think we really just need to get back to the basics. I think it starts at home
Yeah.
first. Um, when I used to dress risque, because my mother would kill me. Let me put it out. I would leave home with one set of clothing on,
Hello.
get to my girlfriend's house,
Yes.
change clothes at her house, and go to school
Yes.
in a whole new set. Didn't look like my mother would have been like, "That's not how I sent you out the house this morning."
Exactly.
I was
Yes.
thinking, right? Come
Yes.
home from school, go to my girl, put my take those clothes off, put on some other clothes, wash my face because I
You
was
better know
ready
it.
to wear makeup and then
Yes.
go home. These were the things that I had to do because, but I knew because she wasn't playing with me. It wasn't gonna
Yeah.
happen. So we have to get back to that where we actually sit down and take the time and actually teach them, right? While my mom said a lot of things to me, she never really explained it.
Right.
Yes.
That's
That part.
So,
important. That's the key.
That is the
so
key.
we can't just tell them. We have to
Mhm.
explain to them why, which is
Yes.
I never received it well. I always thought of her just being mean and not wanting me to have fun. When
Yeah.
in all actuality, she was really teaching me. So you can't just tell them. We have to take the time to explain it.
And making sure that you hit the nail on the head. You have to be home. Um, as the gentleman said, we so busy trying to get the bag and boss up or whatever. You have to have work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because you can't teach them and you're not there necessarily
Mhm.
to really, because that with that absenteeism, they're gonna gravitate to who's around.
That's
Uh,
Right.
right.
the music is around. the friends are around,
Friends.
and then you're learning how to do life through your peers, that could get a little complicated, so you have to figure out, and no shade to people that have to work longer hours for different things to meet the bills or to put food on the table, but there needs to be carved out some consistent time for fun, consistent time for teaching, and it could be combined, but
Mhm.
to really, like you said, explain and really emphasize and be transparent with your kids. I mean,
Yes.
within reason. I mean, for me, I'm like, listen, I don't want you this, having sex prematurely means this. You can
Right.
wake up and have to have be faced with, am I going to be a mom or a dad,
That's right.
or talking
Mhm.
about abortions and talking about diseases, STIs or whatever. That is too much for you as a teenager. You're on your parents' insurance. These are the type of conversations that we have, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
have to be transparent about your bumps in the road and saying, this is why I'm saying this.
Right. Right.
Right. And I'm glad you said that because so many times what we parents, we don't want our children to know we made a mistake. But even some of the choices I made, and my daughter was able to observe them. And I think earlier we said how we try to act like children don't see or they don't
Mhm.
know, but they are
Mhm.
very aware. And I remember saying, baby, what you see right now, this is not the kind of relationship you want. This is
Exactly.
not how you should be treated. And
Mhm.
right in the moment after something would happen, I would tell her, this is not it. This is not how you should be treated as a woman. This is not love. This is not what love should look like. And I had to make a very quality decision because, as Abel said, I was trying to be that boss lady. I have all these goals. I'm like, okay, by the time 2 years, I need to do this. I need to do this. So I was working two full-time jobs. I mean, like grinding it, grinding it. And then I thought about it. And I just recently decided, and matter of fact, one of my jobs, my last day would be the 31st. And I said, hold up, wait, who's raising your child? She's 16.
Mm. Mm.
Um, what's happening? She trying to have a little boyfriend. She trying to date a little bit. She trying to what?
Mm.
Ah! She need to be able to know that boyfriend can come to the house
Yeah.
and it's okay and it's nothing to hide and you can learn how to nurture a relationship in a positive way. And
Positive.
if you're working on the time, how can you show her that? How can you
Yeah.
make it okay? So I had to say, "Ooh, wait a minute, I might need to find another way because my child will grow up and then she will find ways to date whether I'm present or not."
Yeah, and like we have a listener saying yes, and make sure we're listening, not only teaching them, getting the feedback from them, because you know how it was. I think you said this earlier, Passion, that to be seen and not heard, and not to feel, which makes you not feel seen, is a
Mhm.
recipe for disaster as well. Because
That's right.
you're always, I heard a pastor say, you're gonna go where the claps are. Like
Mm.
who's cheering you on? Who do you
That's
feel like
right.
supporting you? That's where you're gonna be transparent and
That's
lean
right.
more towards.
That's right. That's right. So,
And
so
piggybacking on that, when you say who's clapping, I heard a pastor say you invest now or pay later.
Yeah, most
So,
definitely.
we have to make a quality decision that we want to invest into our children's lives, our future generations' lives now, because ultimately we will pay.
mm, one way or another, we will. And I want to go back it up, and piggyback off of something Dee said, because you referenced Proverbs 31, right? And so I remember as I was growing up, always hearing elderly women say, "You want to be a Proverbs woman. You want to be a Proverbs woman." Um,
Yes.
I never even really knew what that was until the other night, right? When I really finally just sat down. see if you remember when we were talking and we was reading scripture, and I
Mhm.
read it, and we were reading. I was like, oh, that's what they mean by be a Proverbs woman,
Mhm.
because everything that a woman should be, right, is right there. It tells you word for word how you should carry yourself, how you should deal with your kids, how you should interact with your husband, how you should even interact with your friends, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yes, it does.
and maybe if when I was a little younger and I was hearing that and I took the time to just actually sit down and read it for myself, it
Mhm.
would have helped me a lot sooner. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
Most of the things I do, right? Because you can't help but be loving and nurturing and kind and take care of your kids. That's well, I shouldn't say, because some women, their maternal instincts never kick in, so they never become a mother and they never do the things that they should do. But for those of us that do, it just happens, right? But some people it just does not. So I just wanted to go back and touch on that. And
Yeah.
in case, because you said, in case somebody else is wondering, if you've never read it, pick up your Bible or Google it and read it. It tells you verbatim how it how a woman should carry herself.
And that's Proverbs 31, starting at verse 10, I think it is. Verse 10.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's key to know that that is over the course of your adulthood, because the first time I read that, I was like, oh, I'm never gonna be a woman if that's because that
That
chick
that
stay up all
rise
night, she cook
early.
all this food, she's buying all this stuff, she's sewing all these clothes.
Yeah, I
It's
think so.
it's comforting to know that that is in different seasons of your life, and
Yes.
praying for more capacity. And like the gentleman said, there are some women that are cussing at their kids because they threw a ball or whatever, but that's because you're at capacity. And this is
Mm,
supposed to be a village thing that we're doing, starting with your parents, but also having a supporting cast,
mm,
right?
mm.
So when
Yes.
you feel like it's on your own and you don't have the tools and you're not where you want to be in life or whatever, you're angry and you don't know how to
Come on.
express that and get the help that you need to get. So
Exactly.
some people never, you have this child and then walk away because you didn't have the capacity at that moment to do that, you
Mm,
know. Some people
Mhm.
come back 18 years and they're able to pick up from that point and try their best to make amends because I've grown now, I've learned some things about myself. Some people become mothers really early. I became a mom
Right.
at 20. I was pregnant at 20, had my daughter at 21. That's still early.
yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's a part of that, teaching your daughters and nieces and neighbors and students that, hey, give yourself some time to find out who
Who
you
you
are.
are.
You are. Yeah.
Who are you
Yes.
really? What is your
Yes.
attachment style? What's your communication style? What do
Yes.
you like and don't like? You don't know that at 14, 15,
You
16,
don't.
17. Sometimes you don't
18,
even know that until 30 to
20.
get on your career path.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And then also when Nisi was talking about, well, both of you talked about the person that curses their kids, but when you even think about who cursed them,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
so
yeah.
when we talk about there's no manual and that a person learns from their environment, that could have been how they were raised because
Yeah.
mother was raised that way. And
Yeah.
so um I'm talking to you because that's how I was talked to as a child as well.
Yeah.
So we always have to, when I was a teacher at one time, we would always say, why is this child this ABCDEFG? Then all you had to do is have a parent teacher conference and you would
Exactly.
say, ah, now I see. So sometimes it's not even that the mother doesn't love her children or she doesn't know how to be she doesn't know how to be a nurturer
Yeah,
because she
exactly.
was never nurtured. She was never nurtured.
Yes, our viewer Jay LaShawn says we inherit certain things, so
Yes.
maybe you inherit being frustrated or not having the proper coping skills or what have you. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yep.
And that is true. And another thing is, like you said, some of them are young. Like I was
Yes.
18 when I was pregnant. I was 19 when I had my child. That's still, young. So a lot of them are busy growing up with them. They part,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
if you out here partying and you're dressing a certain way, and of course with that mindset, you're going to think to dress your 2-year-old daughter like she's 20 is cute, or even
Right.
to have them say certain things or imitate, you think that's cute because you don't really know any better. And like you said, you have to learn yourself. You're still growing, and that's another issue with why these young mothers talk the way they do to their children. Certain,
Yeah.
yeah. Jay LaShawn said certain behaviors, right? Certain bad behaviors.
Yeah. And some are good. Some I know my mom, even though she was in law enforcement, a special police officer, working rotating shifts or whatever, but she still made sure I had a home cooked meal. And even though she wasn't hungry, she would sit down at that table, just the two of us, and be talking through like, how was your day? Making sure I'm emotionally sound. Anybody bother you? And if anybody knows my mom till this day at 77, 78 years old, she is still a non-cussing Medea. Okay. So she wanted to know, do I have to come up to that school? I want to make sure nobody's bothering my child. Even though I'm busy, 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 I'm still not too busy to check in with her and have a meal so that I may be working like this, but I still have a roof over your head. You don't have to worry about that, knowing that I'm still here to protect you. So those things carry over too, because
Yes.
besides a snake, I think every animal and human woman that has a child is like, I'm going to go to jail and to the grave scratching and clawing for my kid.
That's right.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
A bear, she can see you before you see her.
That's
She
right.
will attack you. She don't play that about her kids. So
that's right.
we know in our community, in the African American community, for sure. But women in general do. So there are a lot of things. I mean, or otherwise, Mother's Day is, I would go with the most probably besides Christmas and Thanksgiving, the most celebrated holiday because of all you do, whether
Right.
you are married, separated, divorced, widow, whatever it is, we make sure it happened. Like all the mamas, right? All the
Mhm.
mamas know when somebody get ready to go to jail, call my mama. Somebody on the football field, they score a touchdown. Love you, mom. Everybody
Yeah.
for the mom. So kudos to every mom watching this.
That's
No matter
right.
if you were an addict, a prostitute, no matter what
Yes.
you did. I mean, 'cause some moms had to do some things to make sure their kids had shoes, had education, had whatever. So shout out to all of you. It takes a lot to make it work, right? And we just know that we just do better the more that we, your type of services, Sean, if you need therapy to be a better parent, do it. Even in this stage, I have adult children,
Mhm.
almost one young adult. There's still things that you're learning on how to
That's
support them even in young adulthood.
That's
'Cause we're
true.
so used to being in control that you want to control their adult life. It's like your time is up. You
That's
guide
right.
it. Right now you're a coach,
right.
you're a coach at this point.
And it's funny you said that because about a couple of years ago, I had a conversation with another coworker, and we were just really talking about how some people act as if when a child reaches a certain age, your job as a parent is over, but it's not. So, just parenting after the age of 18, what does that look like when your
Hmm.
child is a young adult, and you know even at 50 plus, I
Hmm.
still need my mom, right?
Yeah.
I still
Yes.
need advice from her. I still need stuff. So she's still to some degree has to parent me, if that
Mhm.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And I also want to go back, backtrack on something you said about how your mom will always ask you how your day was. That is such an important
It
thing.
definitely is.
I don't think people will ever under. My grandchild is 7. She'll be 8 in a couple of weeks, and I got into the habit of always calling her and talking to her just to ask her, how was your day? I
Yeah.
called her one time and was talking to her, and I forgot to say, so how was your day? And she said, Nana. She said, you're not going to ask me how my day was?
Oh.
And
Yes,
Yeah.
baby, I'm sorry. How was your day? And
that's
then she
right.
went in, because sometimes that just giving opening up that door to allow them to freely express themselves and tell
Yeah.
you what's going on in their mind, what they went through for that day. It says it's more than enough to let them know that they're that we care. So when we
Yep.
don't ask them, and they're just, and I said, because I do believe that there's certain parents in certain households, and God forgive me if I'm wrong, and I'm not being judgmental, but I think those are some questions that sometimes just don't get asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
and
that's what you're saying, I love you, and
right.
affirming, affirming you, Sean, as a counselor, know all the stories that you hear and what people come to you for, childhood trauma,
Mhm.
never feeling like you were loved and affirmed, and somebody believed in you that came from your household. Even before, thank God for the teachers that
Mhm.
pulled you aside saying, hey, you're going to do great and all of that. You need to hear it from your parents first, or
Yes.
Mhm.
your biological parents.
Those are your first teachers,
Yes.
and I think sometimes we take that for granted.
Mm-hmm.
But your child, before she or he even gets to kindergarten, they already have developed a level of self-esteem,
Yeah.
Mhm.
positive self-image, all of those things. That's why you see the difference in children. You see one child that's will go for it and speak and try to get things, and then you see another child that's withdrawn and timid and may not um respond, and then you're wondering what's wrong with that child. And then you have to say, okay, come on, you can do it, and push them up to do it a little more, because they may not have received exactly what you said. Just the
Right.
little things, just the you can do it. That means so much. Even when a child is beginning to walk, come on, you can do it,
Mhm.
versus, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So even those kind of things, we don't even know that if you're emotional or anxious mother, and your child is
Mhm.
trying to walk and you say, oh, that child would rethink, oh, is this a bad thing?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just the small things we do. And some
Yeah.
things we do, it's not even intentional, because we're not even aware. Like you said, mothers need to also, as we grow, recognize, okay, do I need a little help? Do I need a little support? Do I need some counseling? Because
Yeah.
we don't even realize that some of that energy that we have is spilling off on our kids, but not intentionally. It's
Mhm.
just that that's us.
That's how it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And then it goes back to show that that whole children learn what they live is
Yep.
that's the truest statement ever. And
Yeah.
it's hard, it's always hard trying to figure out life for you and somebody else. So,
Yeah. Definitely.
making and knowing that I have these eyes on me at all times, it's like, oh, because sometimes you just want to just cut up for a minute, but
Right.
you have to stop and think, I can't really do that, because, and I've been in this position having children where I'd be like, well, I can't necessarily do this and then tell them that they can't do it.
Right. Mhm.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I've always been in that, and I've been in that position too, because there've been plenty of times when my mom said, "Well, you can't do such and such," and I'll be looking at her like,
Do as I
Yeah.
say, not as I do.
"There it
Yeah.
is."
You know it. You know
And
that.
I used to try to figure that out. Like,
Yeah,
what?
what?
Right.
Wait, what? What did you just what? You,
And what she wanted to say but couldn't say was, because you don't know the HE double hockey sticks that I'm going through it as a result of this choice I'm making right now.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yes, 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 yes.
yeah. So, but that's it's just it's we women um go through a lot. We go through so much, and I
And
think
I definitely applaud all you three women for being here today, courageous enough to um, be parents, to be role models for our future. And no matter how bleak it looks, I applaud each and every one of you for the job that you're doing. And despite the trials and tribulations that you go through individually, because like the one thing that kids don't recognize in their parents is they're still people. They have lives. And you look at your parents like superheroes, like they got all the answers, and we don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're still trying to figure stuff out in the midst of raising you, but we can't let you see that. You know what I mean? We got to put that other mask on and figure it out real quick. And those of us that have decency and morals are always going to be looking for the best answer versus just a quick answer to get rid of the kid and the problem. But
Yes.
I definitely recognize that there was something I was going to leave, but it kind of split. But I just wanted to applaud you, ladies. So, I
right,
was going to say the
and
one
don't
thing
forget
that
to
we don't talk about enough as a black culture is seeking therapy, and
Hmm.
as parents. I believe that all parents need an outlet to be able to just vent in a safe space to be able to express themselves as adult, even growing adults
Yeah.
raising a child, pretending like we got to figure it out when we don't. There needs to be a place where we can dump out and be honest and transparent to somewhere that guides us and comforts us. So I think the stigma behind seeking therapy and psychiatrists and things of that nature is overwhelming in the black community. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to open that topic up so you ladies can co-sign the fact that it's okay to to have therapy in your life, and I recommend it for everyone, even if you ain't got issues. So
that is
take it
true.
from there.
I just want to backpack, and I also want to applaud. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is Jay LaShawn? Am I saying her? Am I pronouncing?
Yes.
We
Hmm.
want to thank you. You have been
Yes.
for your input and for your
Yes.
feedback. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a part of the show. And
Yes.
your answers have been on point. I've been agreeing with you all night. I've been over here like, okay,
Yes. Yes. And
oh,
all the
hold up. I'm like, wait a minute.
and all the other people who are giving responses as well. You haven't identified yourself. So it's not, we do love all the comments that Jay LaShawn is giving because she definitely has been
Yes,
chiming in and keeping us
on our toes. Yes.
circling conversations around her responses. But we do recognize other people for your responses as well. And all we just want to make sure is that we are definitely providing you with things that you need, want, desire. And we hope this show was so helpful for you because we've learned from you all too while you were giving those comments.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. And then I told y'all Danielle was wonderful. Well, ain't she good,
Yes,
y'all?
she was.
Always.
Listen,
Awesome.
together we're great.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, as we're closing out, I guess because this is the end of the month. Oh, and we want to make sure each and everybody have a safe Memorial Day
Memorial Day.
weekend. Salute to our veterans that protect our countries, our borders,
Yes.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We just thank you so much. And as we're closing out May,
Thank you
um,
for your service.
yes, and we do know again, like Abel said, this is May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So we can't stress enough, like you said, if someone is if you feel like you just need somebody to talk to, get your a counselor, a therapist, call your health insurance, talk to an advice nurse, somebody, anybody. They have what do they call them lines? Sean.
Hotlines.
Well, you have the right. I was getting ready to get the number for the National
Okay.
Suicide
Yeah, they
Hotline.
have hotlines.
And it's here. Abel's doing a great job of putting it on the border here.
Oh,
Yes.
he put it on there already?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
good. So yes, you all should reach out. But if you can't even remember those numbers or don't know where you put them, don't be ashamed to just call 911.
Right.
It will
Hey, well, no, I
definitely.
don't know about calling 911 because I don't mean to sound prejudiced or anything, but it's my own personal opinion that um, most police officers are not equipped to handle those types of. And I've seen too many news reports and instances where someone has called 911 because one of their loved ones is acting out because they're having issues, and the police get there and they're not understanding, and it goes left.
Yeah. Well, now, they're supposed to be trained, but just like anything, they're supposed to be trained. But you have to identify that it's a mental health crisis, because if you
Mhm.
just say somebody's acting up, they come thinking it's
Yeah.
some kind of domestic
Yes.
situation. But you have to say when you call 911 that it's a mental health crisis. I need help. I am suicidal. I need help. I want to kill myself. Mental health. You have to say those kind of words so they know. But it is good if you can get to your paper or you know the suicide hot lifeline number to call them. And now all cities even have mobile crisis mental health teams that you can find out the mental health crisis teams that can come to you where you are. They call mobile crisis teams, and they come out to you. They can assess you and get you the help and link you to what you need.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm going to also piggyback off of that and say, and also reach out to trusted friends. I
Mm.
know we all go through that. I mean, some people have some serious mental health challenges that require medication, but we all, whether it's a loss of a loved one, the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, not being able to go where you want to, stress on your job, feeling inadequate in your household, there's so many different scenarios that can have someone in a dark place. So talking through it with a friend, if you go to church or are in any faith, do what your faith is requiring or whatever resources they have as well. So there are plenty of resources out there.
Okay. Yes. Does anybody have any questions, any comments? I guess. Okay. So I guess with that, we can say farewell, good night, and we.
Yes.
Oh, and I think we got a real special treat for y'all next month because it's Father's Day.
Yes.
Yay.
Our very own men's panel going
Yes, we are.
on. Something whatever. We gonna see. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna do it.
Yes, we are.
Say
But thank you again, guys, for having me. I enjoyed myself completely and look forward to meeting up with you guys again.
oh, you
You're
better
welcome, and we'll definitely have you back.
quit fast soon and in a hurry. Um, yeah. So we want to thank you all. We're gonna say good night. We love you guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.